Next on AMC, when Vincent Price is falsely accused of murder, he uses the amazing power of invisibility to try and clear his name. Sir Cedric Hardwicke co-stars in The Invisible Man Returns. Next on AMC.
Do you remember when we showed The Invisible Man and you spent an hour or so not seeing Claude Rains? Well, today you're not going to see Vincent Price, at least not for a little while anyway. He's the star of The Invisible Man Returns. For special effects expert John P. Fulton, making this film was a challenge. Since he had done the marvelous, wonderful special effects for the original Invisible Man, he wanted to do this one and include something even better in this film. So he used basically the same technique for creating the Invisible Man. Vincent Price was dressed completely in black velvet, and I mean completely. Nothing showed at all. And then they put on his costume pieces over the velvet. And finally he was placed in front of a black velvet drop, and he went through all of the actions called for in the script. Those sequences were processed later on in the laboratory and painstakingly added to the master shots, which involved the sets and the actors. But Fulton could not be content merely duplicating the effects from the first movie. He had to top those somehow. So he made his job a little bit more difficult by adding some smoke from a cigar that just comes out of nowhere and effects involving rain and fog. Now, the biggest change was the effect that he used at the end of this film to reveal the Invisible Man. If you remember in the Claude Rains version, the character simply materializes. In this one, Fulton does an interesting variation on that. You want to watch for it. You can't miss it. It's really interesting. The effects were revolutionary for the era, and Fulton received an Academy Award nomination for his work. Here's Vincent Price and The Invisible Man Returns.
Blood itself was the antidote.
Vincent Price once said that The Invisible Man Returns was one of his favorite films because no one can criticize what they can't see. This was his very first horror science fiction film, and at the time he had no idea that his entire career would wind up revolving around scaring the American people half out of their wits in a series of unforgettably ghoulish characters. He did some wild people. His screen image is really in sharp contrast to his real life. Vincent Price, of course, is a very cultured man whose interest in art grew to the point where he was considered an internationally recognized expert in the field. In fact, while working on The Invisible Man Returns, he and Cedric Hardwicke became lifelong friends when they discovered their mutual interest in art. You may have noticed that Hardwicke received top billing in this movie over Vincent Price. At this point, Price had only been in films for some 2 years, always in supporting roles. And I guess anyway, it's only right because you didn't see Vincent Price through most of this film. Now this.
The scariest creatures in Hollywood rise from their graves. Every Saturday at 3 p.m. on Creepy Classics. Next time, take a vacation on an island where corpses walk. Boris Karloff lands on the Isle of the Dead. Saturday at 3 on AMC's Creepy Classics.
Next on AMC, Barbary Coast saloon owner George Raft must choose between his singing sweetheart Vivian Blaine and beautiful blue blood Joan Bennett in the colorful music-filled drama Nob Hill. Next on AMC.